Hey guys, so your project for the week is going to be doing a self-portrait. I'm basically giving you free reign of what medium you want to use, and medium, remember, means like photography, painting, graphic design, sculpture, something of that sort. And I'm going to go over a few things that I typed in here, as you can see, I have many tabs open to show you. So with photography, there are things that you can do with a self timer, or you can, physically be holding the camera yourself and taking pictures. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be you fully in the image, which I'll get to that in a minute. Same thing with painting. Do you necessarily paint your face or do you pick your hands as representation? I've seen interesting self portraits where people have been holding something that means something to them in their hands. It could be half your face, it could be, your eye, but think about when you're doing this, you are doing it on paper, you're using the full space. You're not just drawing something really small. Could you create a sculpture? Is there something that defines you that you could put into that? Could you do some sort of drawing on your iPad or your phone if you have the types of materials like that? I want this to be as open and as creative as possible. Okay. So your rubric, creativity and thought, is 10 points. So the biggest thing I want you thinking about is how to be creative with this. You being in your portrait, part of you somehow is 5 points, and picking a medium is 5 points. So 20 points in total. Today's question is 5 points in itself. The other thing, and I put it here, please don't use just like Snapchat as a self portrait. Okay, I know that is its own form of art, but for this one, I want you to be a little bit more creative because those ones have filters and things like that, and that's not necessarily what I'm asking you to do in this. Okay, you can edit it using other phone apps. That's perfectly fine, but I don't want to see any of the filters on the portrait if you do use your phone. Okay, and just remember the second block day this week, I'll post the assignment for you to upload. I'm going to get into some of my examples. Okay, hopefully this will pop up. We'll see. Okay, so starting with this one, this is actually my signature pose, and that's why I said for photography. My photo students know this. This is my signature pose when I go to take pictures. Um, it's always the way I've done my self portraits because I like the way that my jaw is defined in the shadow and the lighting that's involved. And I typically tend to do it in the trees or something interesting that's composed above me. Okay, so you can see that almost like this triangular shape in my jaw is leading you to the trees and the contrast of the light versus the dark. Okay, so those are some elements and principles for you even to think about. Like you have your dark, you have your light. They're contrasting, they're opposites. Okay. This is considered a self portrait too because for me, it was the first time going in the Pacific Ocean when I took this. So it was representative of like, I love being in the water. You guys know I coach swimming. Like, I love being in the water, and it's something that means a lot to me, and it's representative of who I am as a person. It's a part of my personality. So, taking a picture of my feet the first time I stepped foot in the Pacific Ocean, that was a big deal. Okay, and capturing the way the wave came and capturing, you don't see my feet, right? So that's part of it. The next piece, I think, as you can see, I have so many tabs open. Same thing goes for the first one. Okay, you can see my jaw again, but I kept everything on this lower half of my image. And so that's called rule of thirds in photography. And I was using only a third of the image, basically. And so that's what makes it a little bit more interesting. If I was taking up the full space, it would not have been as interesting. Okay, and you have a sun glare coming in, and once again, my signature selfie. I'm gonna start Xing out some of these because I think I'm slowing my computer down. Okay, and then I have this one. I'm going to zoom out for a second so you can see it. I took this in the Philadelphia Art Museum, and I wanted to see, like, what was above me as well as the lights and the textures that were there. Okay. Another one, you can do sort of mirror, like self-portraits are perfectly fine as long as they still represent you and as long as they have something creative to it. The creative pieces that you see in here, okay, are going to be my face with the reflection of the lightness versus the darkness. So once again, contrast. I also have pattern and repetition in the doors going back and in the textures on the wall. So those are some, different things that you can use. There's a lot of use of line too that I have here. Okay, so that's what makes that self-portrait a little bit more in-depth and interesting. And then for this one, even though I used I used the Hugie app for this one, I purposely tried to capture movements. Okay, so if you're doing something like that, that's also fine. But you need to make sure you capture it in a way that represents you. So this could represent the chaos, right, of everything going on in life. And all I did was just make sure that I was shaking my head consistently. And I think when I usually do these, it takes more than one try. I don't get it in one try. I have to do it more than one time. So just think about that as you're doing it. Okay. And then I left up my Flickr because I used that. I used to use that. I got locked out of my pages because they now started to charge for how many pictures you put on there, and I can't go in. Otherwise, it'll delete all my stuff. So that really sucks, but at least I can still see it. When I first got engaged a couple of years ago, I used my ring as a representation on my self portrait. When you look at this image right here, you see the rings in a tree and the ring, representing something like eternal life, something of that sort, growing, those kinds of things. So that was a self portrait for me too, to represent who I was then and how I was growing. You see, I have more tree shots here. Okay, even my feet in the leaf. Okay, I put my ring in the leaf, different things. This was at Red Bank Battlefield that I took this. Okay, so I'm going to go over a couple things too with some famous artists. You can get as creative as you want, like I said. If you know how to use Photoshop, feel free. If you have Lightroom or if you have editing apps on your phone, because I know there's so many various apps you can get creative with, have fun. Feel like you could do that. If you're doing paintings, think about how you can represent, or drawing, sorry, you can represent yourself. How do you want to do it? Do you want to do like a side view? Or do you want to do a cubist style? Or do you want to do it like Van Gogh and be a little bit more impressionistic or even expressing yourself? Or Warhol. He did printmaking self portraits. Frida Kahlo did a lot of hers too, as well, like having herself be the center of it and it telling a story. So those are things I want you to consider. If you're doing digital drawing, like on your iPad or anything like that, you can also do things like this, because it's similar to it in the quality depending on what you're using. And last but not least, with these self portraits, I talk about Vivian Meyer in my photography class. She was one of the masters of self portraits back, a couple, 50 years ago. And there's a documentary on her on Netflix. But you can see the use of lighting is big and the use of editing and sometimes the use of reflection. So I really want you to consider these things while you're doing it. Please, please, like I said, don't just use, Snapchat. Think about how you can be creative because that's 10 points on this. If you guys have questions, let me know. But remember, today you're only answering the question of the week. Today, that's 5 points telling you what you're going to do. And then on Thursday or Friday, I'll have the assignment page posted. You can start the process once you have this assignment, but just remember you can't post it till that other day. All right, guys. Hope you're all doing well. I miss you lots. I hopefully in the next couple of weeks, since we're finishing up the school year, I would love to do like a goodbye Zoom if we can hop on so I can, see your faces again since I haven't seen some of you in a couple months. And I missed you guys a lot. Okay. Last thing, anything that's not turned in that has been posted this quarter by 529, what Mr. Rosen has said is that you will have, like, that'll stay a zero, and anything after 529 until the end of the school year is its own like separate grading stuff. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. All right. Hope you guys are well. See you later. Bye.